Welcome to the Verdin Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin, and today here we have a very special edition of the Verdin Verdict. We're going to be giving our predictions for the NFL playoffs. A lot of big news going around in the NFL. Saints are getting Tyrann Mathieu. They also added Jarvis Landry here today. The Saints are looking to soup up their chances at making the playoffs next season. Looks like they got a pretty good chance, in my opinion. Tom Brady returning, though, is going to pose some issues for the Saints, as that rivalry between New Orleans and Tampa Bay definitely does bring to life a new feel of game and whatnot. However, Tom Brady just I'm not gonna bet against him. I'm gonna trust to go here this one. I think there's a lot of big news going on, especially LSU basketball. It looks like LSU basketball is making a strong recruiting effort, getting Ace Wolf back today. Glad to get him back as well. We got a lot of big news, a lot of NBA basketball games. We got two potential closeout games tonight with the Bucks and Celtics, and the Warriors and Grizzlies. Both series is a 3-2. Bucks lead theirs, Warriors lead theirs. With John Morant not being in the playoffs, it's just interesting seeing the Grizzlies still, kind of keep their head afloat and almost potentially force this Game 7. And if the Grizzlies do force a Game 7, gives Ja time. I don't think he'll be able to return this series, and maybe not even next, unless it would be later, bearing some miracle. But moving into the Boston series, man, the Boston Celtics have came out hot all year. They're one of the best defensive teams, but at the same time, they're playing against the defending champions, and the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks have no quit in them. They have been tried and tested, and they were the best in the league. Defense does win championships. Boston's a great environment. If they were to force a Game 7 in Boston would probably not fare well for Milwaukee. That's a whole different beast, whole different atmosphere. But circling back to the NFL, a lot of big moves this offseason. A lot of teams have restructured and kind of prioritized the playoffs now. AFC West is going to be your biggest division where I would see much change. I would call it the AFC Wild West, honestly, with Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. The Chargers are souping up their defense. They add J.C. Jackson. They add Khalil Mack. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs, and the Raiders go ahead and take Devontae Adams from the Green Bay Packers, which not too happy about, but at the same time, it's a big move, especially when they lost Henry Ruggs last year. Derek Carr needs a weapon, and they went out and got the best weapon that you can get in terms of wide receivers. So that's going to bring me into the AFC predictions for this year. For the divisional champions, I'm going to go ahead and say the Bengals are going to get the AFC North again. Surprisingly, I'm going to think the AFC South is going to go to the Colts. They get Matt Ryan. They have Pittman. JT still going to be on fire. I just don't think the Titans can pose much of a threat now without A.J. Brown. Ryan Tannehill's getting old, and they got a lot of drama going on in that locker room in Tennessee. I'm going to have the Indianapolis Colts taking the AFC South, man. Pat McAfee, you're not going to be able to hear the end of it with him. He's going to be letting everybody know. AFC East, man, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl favorites right now, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills have the highest odds to win the Super Bowl now. They add Von Miller. They still have Stephon Diggs. They got Josh Allen. I mean, they got takeaway Trey. That defense is insane. At the same time, I personally don't feel Buffalo can take it all the way. I think there's still a lot of things that have to be shown and learned for Josh Allen. I don't think he's quite ready there yet to say he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. That might just be an overshot for me. I think he's still kind of, in the same situation as like a Lamar Jackson or even a Justin Herbert, to where they need to kind of prove themselves before they can go that far deep. Winning the division's one thing, but a Super Bowl is a completely different beast. Some quarterbacks will never do it. Segueing into the AFC West, I'm going to say that the Chargers are going to make it out of this one. Now, the Chargers put up a good fight. My problem with the Chiefs, why I didn't pick the Chiefs to win the AFC West, is because obviously they lost Honey Badger and Cheetah. That's big blows. That's not just losing two role players. That's losing your best wide receiver and your best safety. Now they play for another team, left you stranded. You had trouble last year, and now there's a whole lot more holes in that sinking ship. So I feel like, Super Bowl windows, they normally close pretty quickly. I'm not saying the Chiefs ones closed here. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the act of closing currently. Moving into the wild card, I'm gonna have the Chiefs going in there. Like I said, I don't think they're gonna have a great year in terms of winning the division, but they could definitely squeak into the wild card here. I would expect Russell Wilson to lead his Broncos in there. anytime Russell Wilson is leading a team and he can stay healthy, I would put all my trust in him. Russell Wilson is still a great quarterback, and he's going to be paired, or would have been paired, with a great receiver, Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully Jerry Jeudy, breaking news as well, yesterday Jerry Jeudy got arrested for tampering with a witness of some domestic violence case or something, man. It seems like the Alabama wide receivers just can't stop getting in trouble. You got Calvin Ridley betting on games while he's sidelined. You got Henry Ruggs driving 200 miles per hour down Las Vegas almost. And then now you got Jerry Jeudy here getting in trouble. I mean, it seems like Alabama's wide receiver U for jail time at this point. Patriots, though, Bill Belichick's going to find a way. That team is blossoming, and they showed good promise last year. They did fall short in the end. However, I think Mac Jones learned some key lessons. He forged himself in the fire, so to speak, last postseason. Going into this next season, Bill Belichick, I'm sure, is going to have him work on a lot of nuances of his game and kind of just fine tune some things, and they could come out firing. You never know. For me to say who's going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, that's a rough one, because the Bengals did address a much needed area. Offensive line got strengthened in the offseason, so I do think that Joe Burrow is going to be able to improve exponentially, given the fact that he's going to have more protection, he's going to have more time in the pocket, and he's going to be able to be comfortable. However, saying that they're going to repeat a Super Bowl is a big statement, but I'm going to make that statement. I think Joe Burrow has the it factor about him. He's got the confidence. And him and Jamar Chase are just inseparable. These guys, you can't get them apart. I mean, they're on the same team in the pros together now. College teammates, win a national championship, a part of the greatest college football team of all time, arguably. And then now you put them in the pros, and their first year together, they go to the Super Bowl. It's not going to be the last time they go to the Super Bowl. And my pick for the conference champions out of the AFC would be the Bengals. I think the Bengals are red hot. I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. Moving towards the NFC, I'm still going to have the Packers reigning atop the NFC North, despite the rumor mill circling that the Vikings might be able to come out and surprise. I don't think much is going to change in Green Bay. I get we lost Devontae Adams in terms of the Packers, but I think that the addition of Sammy Watkins, the draft of Christian Watson, I think that they highlighted a lot of key areas that they were missing. Drafted well in the first round, took 2 defensive players. I think that Green Bay doesn't have the potential to win the conference championship this year like they did last year. Not saying that they don't have a chance. However, the chances are getting slimmer and slimmer as the years go by. Aaron Rodgers is getting older. He's off of his second consecutive MVP season, so it's sad to see them not make it as far as he would like. However, I definitely do think him staying in Green Bay is gonna stir some things up. NFC South with Tampa Bay. I don't like I said earlier. I don't think the Saints will be able to knock off Tampa Bay. They shut them out. They give them good fights. And they probably will do that in the divisional race all season. The Saints, I mean, they've addressed every problem they've had. They've got the new coach. They've got although it is still someone in that same system and then Asylum, but they got the new coach. Kamara will be starting the season off on a suspension, but it might be a blessing in disguise. Maybe Kamara doesn't get hurt now. Maybe Kamara's workload, is shortened in the beginning part of the season, and he's going to be able to play after his 4 to 6 game suspension. He'll be able to play the final 13 to whatever games left without he pretty much gets a rest. He doesn't get to it's trying to make a bright side out of a bad situation. Not much else you can take away from it. NFC East, shocking, but the Eagles go ahead and take A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts showed that he was ready. If we can keep everybody healthy on that team, I think that the NFC East is the Eagles to lose. NFC East is traditionally one of the worst divisions in the NFL. The only other team that would contend with them as the Cowboys, but I don't think Dallas is better than last year. I think when you look at the Eagles and what they've done, what they've gone out and accomplished, on top of that, they're young, they're learning. The Cowboys have some young players, but guys like Zeke and Dak, their ceilings are close to being hit. These guys are developed. These guys are this is the Cowboys probably 10-7 season, more than likely, is what I'm thinking for the Cowboys. I think that the Eagles can go ahead and string together 11 wins if necessary. They got everything you need. They got a Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts that can throw the football. NFC West, Los Angeles Rams are off of a tremendous season. Nothing changed besides the fact that, Odell and Von Miller are gone. But at the same time, those were late signees that were just more along the lines of there to fill a role, a smaller role that I don't think is going to be hard to find a substitute for. Sure, Von Miller going to Buffalo is a huge boost, and Von Miller is a great athlete. I just don't personally think that the loss of Von Miller is going to cripple the Rams in any way. The Rams are going to be set to have a chance at repeating. It's rare in the NFL especially. But with Aaron Donald coming back, with Cooper Kupp coming back, with Matthew Stafford coming back, it's a recipe for disaster. That team is crazy. That team's hard to guard. We've seen it. The defense is so strong. The offense is explosive. Cooper Kupp can give you 110 receiving yards every single game. Moving into the wild card, like I said, the Saints will probably scratch that. The Saints will definitely give Tampa Bay a huge fight all throughout the divisional race. My problem with the Saints is that I don't trust Jameis Winston enough. Jameis is going to have to prove that he has recovered and that he has transitioned into an elite quarterback, because when we're talking about going deep into the playoffs, what you need behind center is an elite quarterback. I'm not saying Jameis Winston can't be that. However, he has the tools now to prove that he is one. He's got Jarvis Landry now. He still has Kamara. Michael Thomas is coming back. You got Chris Olave. The defense is still impenetrable. The Saints have all the tools necessary. There's no more excuses now. It's do or die. The Saints wanted to rebuild the team. If Drew Brees was behind center with this team, the Saints would have to be top 5 Super Bowl favorites at least. This is the team that Drew was waiting for. I'm going to go ahead and put the Vikings in the wild card as well. Great team. I just don't think they're ready to win a division yet. I don't think behind Kirk Cousins, I don't think you can trust them enough. Kirk Cousins' record as a starter is barely above 500. And he's made over $100 million, which is crazy. Kirk Cousins is just getting away with the bare minimum, getting max contracts. And then I'm going to put the last wildcard spot to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona has a great team, and they're still getting active as well. They're still getting out there. Man, I don't think that Arizona is going to be able to take the division from the Rams. J.J. Watt is great. Kyler Murray is great, and he gets new weapons as well. But I just don't think that anybody's going to be able to knock off the defending champions, because what the Los Angeles Rams bring to the table and experience now is insane. I don't think anybody's going to be able to match that in that division. You're playing this team twice a year. They're going to get the best of you. These guys know you, your ins and outs. With the Hollywood trade, the Ravens taking Hollywood Brown, sending them to Arizona. That's going to be probably the last straw as to why the Ravens, I believe, will not make the playoffs this year. NFC, one last look at these standings. Moving towards NBA basketball, we have an interesting forefront ahead. Suns are going to Game 7 with the Mavericks. Game 7 will be played Sunday, and the Heat move on from the 76ers. 76ers are just catastrophic. They're gonna bring back Doc Rivers, but what's interesting is the fact that they got Daryl Morey, the old Houston general manager, Houston Rockets general manager, and they got James Harden, the old Houston Rockets shooting guard. And it seems like they're having the same Houston Rockets problems. They can't finish. They can't get deep in the playoffs because they can't rely on James Harden. It's almost seems like it's time to hold James Harden accountable for what he's been doing, not showing up. And it doesn't seem like he's the number one guy, number one player, which is, that's the necessary role that he needs. I don't think he needs to be the primary focus. I think we learned that when you tried to pair him with Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook, and neither of them worked. Joel Embiid taking the reins definitely helped. I think the fact that he got injured slowed it down. Harden couldn't fill the shoes when the shoes needed to be filled. Now Miami is going to move on to the conference finals, and they're going to be met with either Milwaukee or Boston. My guess is going to be Milwaukee. Miami and Milwaukee are going to have a hard-fought battle, but I think the Bucks are going to go ahead and head back to the finals again, second straight year. with that being said, the Suns and the Mavericks. The Suns have they've been having a rough postseason. They had the Pelicans on the brink of forcing a Game 7 as well. It seems like the Suns just can't string consistent performances together. With this Game 7, you got Luka, you got all kind of variables in here, but I'm gonna go with the Suns. I'm gonna go with Chris Paul showing up. I think he's gonna come in clutch when Chris Paul's needed. He shows up normally, bearing an injury. I believe Phoenix will go ahead and head into these conference finals, and I think without a shadow of a doubt that the Golden State Warriors are going to show up. The Grizzlies are too young. They're without Ja Morant. There's just too many factors going wrong for the Grizzlies. They're not even sitting here in question to make this a competitive series, in my opinion. I think the Warriors kind of, they don't have Steve Kerr, and it seems like they're just in a slump right now mentally. They might not even care. They might not have focus. These guys are playing playoff basketball every year. For 5 straight years in a row, they were in the finals. They might know when to turn that switch on, and I guess they got caught lacking right then and there. So Warriors, Suns, Heat, Bucks. My finals prediction would be Warriors, Bucks. I got man. You know what? When Steve Kerr comes back, honestly, I think it'll be hard to stop the Warriors. Just like I was mentioning earlier on in the season, the Golden State Warriors are comparable to a buzzsaw. When you run into the Golden State Warriors, you get shredded, you get pulled apart, and you get dissected. The Golden State Warriors can shoot 300 threes a night. The Golden State Warriors can nonstop create efficient offense, and that is deadly. When you can go out here, it's a numbers game. 3 beats 2. 3 points is better than 2 points. These guys are going to go out here shooting 40 3-pointers, and they're going to make 40 to 50% of these shots. I think the fact that everyone can shoot on the Warriors is a problem, too. Now you got Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry on the same court. You cannot get caught lacking. You cannot sag off. You cannot turn your head, because every time you're distracted, one of these 3 scorers is going to put the ball in the hoop. However, Jordan Poole has been in a slump lately. The other night, there was a NBA Super Boost on FanDuel for Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole to all make 3 3-pointers. Right after halftime, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson checked those boxes. Jordan Poole made 1 bucket all game. That's going to go back and play into the slump that we were talking about. I don't think it's going to be detrimental. They got the 3 scores. They got a lot of role players. The Warriors are deep. Once Steve Kerr can return to action, we can get these guys a little more comfortable. I think the Warriors are going to go ahead and handle this and make this one look pretty easy. So just a recap of the NFL playoff predictions. I'm going to go ahead and say that these are going to be my divisional champions. I think that it will be, it's going to be an interesting fight between teams like Tampa Bay and New Orleans, but in the end, I think that the Rams are just too strong. I think the Rams have a great system, and I just don't think that anybody in the NFC would really be able to fight this. I mean, look at these teams that they've already played. They can smash these teams any given time or any given game. AFC, another look into these standings. Bengals are a strong team, but this one's more this one's more wide open. I mean, you got even wild card teams like the Chiefs that can make a run. Broncos could potentially win the division with the Chargers. I mean, that's 3 of the AFC West teams right there in the playoffs potentially. The NFL season will definitely be one to enjoy, and these predictions will probably update as more news and videos come along. But right now, schedule release, and based off of what we saw last year and just kind of the moves made, this is going to be pretty much what the forefront of the NFL looks like. This is going to be your teams to beat going into next season. Well, the Verdin Verdict. Hopefully we can nail some of these picks. Hopefully we can get some of these right. But that has been all for this week. This has been the Verdin Verdict. Thanks for tuning in, and y'all have a good one.